Hi everyone, welcome to my video. Now you may be clicking on this video with some hesitation. Getting rid of Lyme disease, isn't that impossible? Well no, actually it's very possible. But here's the problem. We've all been taught that Lyme disease is caused by the bacteria Borrelia burgdorferi. And I'm here to tell you from firsthand experience that this is not the whole truth. Now you may have a Borrelia infection, but it is not the only thing and certainly not the main thing making you chronically ill. Now, if that shocks you, frustrates you, enrages you even, trust me, I get it. Me and my family have devoted years and spent thousands upon thousands of dollars trying to get rid of this bacteria. But I learned the hard way that this bug is not the root cause of Lyme disease. And I want to make sure that nobody else out there makes the same mistakes that I did. So, how do I know this? Well, because after 6 years of endless research and treatments, I was finally able to completely get rid of my Borrelia burgdorferi and co-infections. Yet I still remain unwell. So wait, then why are you still unwell, and how in the world did you get rid of B. burgdorferi and co-infections? Well, I addressed the first question in another video and article where I talk about the root causes of disease. But for right now, I want to tell you what I used to get rid of my Borrelia. Because even though I wasn't addressing the right root causes, this device did eliminate my borreliosis. And as I explain later, it also works on viruses, cancer, and so much more. So what is this device? It's called a Rife machine, and I'm going to explain how it works. But first, alongside the Rife machine, I also use something called the biofeedback avatar machine to monitor my Borrelia levels. And yes, this may shock and enrage those of you who have spent years trying to get accurate Lyme testing, only to realize that our testing is a complete joke. But the biofeedback machine assesses imbalances within your meridian systems. And it uses your meridian systems to measure what levels of specific organisms you have in specific areas of your body, among other things. But this means you can actually get an accurate reading of the levels of B. burgdorferi in your liver or spleen, for example, in real time. So yes, this is a crime that these two tools are not common knowledge, but nevertheless, this is what I use to track my Borrelia levels and other organisms, while at the same time using the Rife machine to target and kill those organisms. And I watched over the course of about 8 months my Borrelia levels go from raging to non-existent. And not only did I see the proof in the levels, but I also experienced major shifts in my symptoms. So, what is the Rife machine and how does it work? Now, stick with me for this part, it's all going to come together. But in the 1930s, a man named Dr. Royal Raymond Rife, a guy who was eventually celebrated for discovering the end to all disease, discovered a couple of really important things. Firstly, he invented the very first microscope that could view living organisms, which is important because it helped him discover that all organisms have something called a mortal oscillatory rate, which in simple terms just means that all organisms vibrate at unique frequencies, and those frequencies can be used to kill them. In fact, every single thing broken down is energy and vibrates at specific frequencies. Your cell phone, this plant, your liver cells all have specific frequencies, and you can use those frequencies to either kill organisms or to support specific cells. We'll get into this after. But he also discovered the cancer virus called the BX virus. And he found this carcinoma virus in every cancer case that he examined. So, given that he now had the frequency of that cancer virus, he wanted to know what would happen if he subjected the cancer or virus cell to its own frequency. So he built the Rife machine and discovered that when he sent the frequency of this cancer virus back at the cancer cells, they died. Now, he did this successfully over 400 times in experimental animals before he eventually went on to use the frequency on humans. But when he did, the results were just as outstanding. In fact, in the summer of 1934, under a special medical research committee of the University of Southern California, Dr. Rife, along with a host of other doctors, were given 16 terminally ill patients to treat for a variety of different cancers. These were patients who doctors said, go ahead, treat them, we can't do anything else for them. After 3 months of just frequency therapy using the Rife machine, 14 of these so-called hopeless cases were signed off as clinically cured by staff of 5 medical doctors and by Dr. Alvin G. Ford, MD pathologist for the entire group. and the 2 other cases followed within the next 2.5 months. This is important because if you look the Rife machine up right now on WebMD, for example, they still claim that there is no scientific evidence or successful accredited evidence for this device. I don't know about you, but a study done by the University of Southern California is pretty accredited to me. But now, you're probably saying that is great, but how does this really work, and how could it work for me? Because like I said, not only did he find the mortal frequency for the cancer virus, but he recorded the mortal frequency for many other organisms. And since him, many other scientists have spent years continuing that work. So the frequencies for Borrelia burgdorferi, for specific parasites and viruses, they have all been discovered and are available. And you can use a Rife machine to target and kill all of them. This is amazing news, and I, along with thousands of others like me, can tell you firsthand that this works. I have seen people cured of cancer from this device. Now, as far as how this all works, on a very simple level, you experience energy or frequencies in many ways throughout your entire day. You are energy. When you get a bad vibe from someone, or you're listening to certain music and it makes you feel a certain way, those are the waves or frequencies of that person or of the music interacting with your own waves, producing different experiences. For example, there are certain waves or frequencies that can cause cellular damage. We call these EMFs, which are the waves that are produced by your electronic devices or Wi-Fi. Just throwing that out there. But there are also waves that are healing or even calming to your brain cells, for example. Now, the Rife machine can be used to both kill bad organisms, but it can also be used to support good cells and to support your vital organs. So how does that work? Think about the radio. Every channel that you flip to is different, right? 92.7 or 103.5. Think about each radio channel as its own unique wave, containing its own specific information. Now, each of those unique waves needs to be carried by one steady, constant wave, called a carrier wave. So basically, we place a little wave containing specific information on top of a steady carrier wave, and those 2 waves together get delivered and transmitted through your radio, providing you with a variety of different channels. So each unique wave of every channel that you turn to is carried by the same carrier wave. Now, think about the Rife machine as the broadcasting center, and it uses either a healing carrier wave or a killing carrier wave. So if I want to kill a Borrelia burgdorferi cell, for example, I use the specific frequencies for Borrelia burgdorferi, and I place them on top of a killing carrier wave, which gets delivered to my body and then gets delivered to and kills those specific Borrelia cells. It's really like programming a missile to hit a certain location, only the missile here is energy waves programmed to hit certain cells. And using the Rife, you can do the same thing with a healing carrier wave. For example, you can use the specific frequencies of your liver cells, or you can use the specific frequencies for healing and place them on top of a healing carrier wave. And those supportive, restorative, and healing signals will get sent to your liver cells. Now, when it comes to using the actual Rife machine, that carrier wave and frequency stuff is all figured out for you, and all you have to do is pick your program and press start. So you now know how I use the Rife machine to get rid of my Borrelia burgdorferi and co-infections. And I continue to use it to support my organs, to target viruses, if a family member gets a cold, all kinds of things. If it has a frequency, it can be killed or supported. And we've already established that everything has a frequency. So I hope that you learned a whole heck of a lot today, and I hope that you feel really encouraged by this information, because you guys, there are answers. There are cures to chronic illness, and there is always hope. And I encourage you to go back through this video a couple times if you need to, and if you have questions, ask them. I will be making more videos on Rife, on the root causes of disease, but if you have specific questions, I can address them in a video. So thanks for watching, you guys, and here is to encouraging, educating, and empowering one another. See you later.